multi-access. You'd say when you say multi-access, it's like a switch here where it's not only router 1 and router 2 is connected, but also let's say we have also other routers is connected. There are more than two routers connected between the single link of your router. That's okay. So one siya tawag multi-access. For the point-to-point is example na to is router 1 and router 2 connectivity. Okay. So if you're going to notice, the IP itself is even the /30. Okay. So may I ask pila ka book available address sa /30? Anybody? I mean, pila ka book usable address that can be assigned to an interface for a /30 network? Who has an idea? Anyone? Anybody?
Duha, sir.
Yes, that's correct. Only two. Okay. So your router will understood that if it is using /30, okay, there's no other next hop for the other end. Okay. So more bitog define na daan ang iyang connection sa PCAS end. Okay, because there's no other address that is available, okay, to be assigned. Okay, if ever na if /30 di gamit ang mga isa, pasabot na ang next one would be the router sa next. Okay, so that would define your kanang point to point. Okay, that's why the /30 is being used as example gina sa point to point, but it doesn't mean na /30 ra pwede gamitin na dali. Actually pwede ta magamit og /24 dali, pero mahitabo is that you have a huge number of uh, addresses that can be assigned. Okay, so maglisod o identify if you did not set as the next hop. Okay, did mo set sa interface as next hop. Okay, it would not detect the reconnections from the other end. Unlike sa /30, there are only two address. If one is assigned to your interface, the other one would be the next hop. Okay. Okay. So you can specify the interface that belongs to a point-to-point network by configuring network command. You can also configure OSPF directly on the interface with IP, space, OSPF. So this would be basic syntax. Okay, under sa routing configuration, you have here the network, space followed by the network address, space the wildcard, space the area. Okay, in OSPF, we always need to define what area. Okay, as a default, if we have if we only have one area, we have to use area 0. Okay, if you have multiple area, we need to have a backbone of area 0. Okay, so this would be the correct syntax. Okay, so we can use network address, then the wildcard. Okay, wildcard is usually the reversal of subnet mask. Okay, network address wildcard is used to enable OSPF interface. Any interfaces on the router that matches this part of the command are enabled to send and receive OSPF packet. Okay, the area ID syntax refers to OSPF area. When configuration of single area OSPF, the network command must be configured with the same area value on all routers. Although any area ID can be used, okay, it is good practice to use the area ID 0 with a single area OSPF 2. This convention makes it easier if the network is later altered to support multi-area of OSPF version 2. Okay, so as the review of wildcard, I hope you still remember how to calculate wildcard. Okay, ako ani sa akong sa my experience, I always think the wildcard as the reversal of your subnet. Okay, more when you say subnet, the ones will indicate your network. The 0 will indicate your host. Okay, there is a wildcard, di bali na niya. Okay, so the ones are the 0 are the ones. Okay, so the easiest method of calculating wildcard is subtract. Okay, in this sa atong curriculum, ang iyang gihatag na simplest method to calculate wildcard is to subtract the mask from the 255. Okay, as shown here, when calculating if the subnet mask is 255, okay, calculating the wildcard mask for the 24, I think this is wrong. Slash saan eh? Hmm, I'll call this. Slash 24 is usually 255.255.0. And slash 26 is 255.255.192. Diba? Okay, so I think this would be wrong. It's in figure. Okay, correction lang ha. Anyway, the wildcard for slash 24 is usually this one. The wildcard for slash 26 is this wrong. Okay, it's not 255. It should be 192 minus the slash 26 is 128 plus 64. That is 192. So minus 255. Usually 255 minus 192. That would be your wildcard. Okay. Okay, so proceed ta, katong correction to siya, sayop to siya. Okay, so configure SPF using the network command. When routing configuration mode, there are two ways to identify the interface that will participate to SPF routing to process. So first example, the wildcard identifies the interface based on the network. Any active interface that is configured with an IP address belonging to the network will participate in your OSPF routing process. So some iOS version allow subnet mask to be entered instead of the wildcard. The iOS then converts the wildcard mask to the wildcard mask format. Okay? So, may uban iOS version katong mga bagong update na instead of si tawag na instead of the wildcard gamiton. Sometimes pwede ka na uban iOS na newer which is pwede ka mag-input tree og subnet mask. Okay? So ma-determine naman na sa tong iOS which is the subnet mask and which is the wildcard. So sa subnet mask, maka-remember mo asa man to. Sample sa subnet mask sa slash 24 that is 255.255.255 that's 0, di ba? Slash 26 is 255.255.255.192. Okay? Example sa wildcard is 0.0.0.255. Okay? So it's just the reversal. Okay? So dali rin siya na to dali ra na to okay. Okay. Dali ra na to ma-identify which is unsay subnet mask, unsay wildcard. Okay? So wildcard is usually started with 0, which means all 0 is nasa left side, all ones is nasa right side. Okay? Okay? Ang atong subnet mask, all ones is nasa left side, ang all 0 is nasa right side. Okay? So as you can see here, this is a sample for a wildcard. Okay? So be careful, nasa tayo mga invalid na wildcard ha. Diba mo also yung mga invalid wildcard. So if ever you're going to convert this one, okay, remember in your subnet mask, this is just a slight review. Okay? So how many of you knows pila ka book possible pila ka book subnet mask na to available in a single octet? Pila ka book? Anyone? We know na 255, di ba? Example sa subnet mask na slash 24. This is equivalent to 255, 255, 255, that's 0. Okay? My question is, pila ka possible value na sa itong subnet mask in a single octet? Anyone? Make a guess if you don't know. None? Wala dyan nakabawa ni? So we have 9, okay? So we have 0, we have 128, we have 192, we have 224, we have 240, 248, 252, 254, and 255. Sakto ba? 9, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are the possible mga values atong subnet mask per octet. Okay? Dili ka kakitag subnet mask na naay 253. Di ka kita drag 100. Okay? Nga naman, because the subnet mask has na siya kuan, na siya say tawag na. Okay? Na siya rule na the subnet must define based on the bit, okay, based on number one na bit, okay. Usually tanan one nasa left side, all ones nasa left, and all zero sa right side, okay. So di na may tabo na na-active value sa subnet mask na 101, okay. Dili na invalid na siya. The same with your wildcard. So remember, wildcard is just in my own opinion, it is just the reverse of your subnet mask. Okay? So if ever wildcard ang istoryahan, ang 0 na sa left side, ang 1 na sa right side. Okay? So like this one, the data to my determine, this is a wildcard. Okay? But some of iOS will accept if you're going to input network address 3. Okay? But still accepted. No question from that. So alternatively, OSPF2 can be enabled by specifying exact interface IPv4 address using quad 0 wildcard. So we have here entering network 10.1.1.5, then we have a wildcard mask. Okay. So wildcard, yeah. Itong wildcards sa itong subnet before is usually is 255, 255, 255, and 255. That is our wildcard, di ba? For the subnet mask. The reversal for this is just 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. So since there are all ones, the reverse for that is all 0. Okay. So you can have here entering network 10.1.1.5, then we have a wildcard mask being used, area 0 on router 1. So router 1 tells the router to enable the gigabit interface 0 for routing process. The advantage of specifying the interface is that the wildcard mask calculation is not necessarily. Notice that in all cases, the area argument specifies the 0. So you have here router OSP of 10. We have 10.10.1.1 with wildcards 0, 0. We also have 10.1.1.5 area 0, 10.1.1.14 area 0. Okay. So configure OSPF using the IP OSPF command. Okay, this we're going to add. Okay, uh, directly on the interface, the use of IP OSPF interface configuration mode command as follow. Okay, so we have here router ID. So we need we need to go to the interface configuration first before providing this OSPF process ID and the area. Okay, so remove the network commands using no form command. So remember, ang no muna siya munigate sa imong command yatag. Okay. As you can see here in set of commands, we have router OSPF10 creating OSPF processor ID number 10. Under sa router configuration, we have deleted the configuration not only add ganina using the network with the wildcard with no the network then the other parameters. This would delete this network information in the area 0. Okay. Next is interface gigabit port number 0. So this is where we go to the interface configuration. So under the interface configuration, pili tayong gamit of IP OSPF space 10 area 0. Okay. This is the use of IP OSPF commands under sa interface. Okay. You also have IP OSPF 10. Okay, under sa interface 00.1, then IP OSPF 10 area 0. Okay, di na ta kailangan magkatong wildcard. Okay, because we have added the interface under sa OSPF 10. Okay, as you can see here, interface loopback 0 is also added, IP OSPF 10 area 0. Okay, just question? Walay question. So, unsa may pinaka-easiest implementation sa OSPF? Okay, doing the router SPF10, then the network, or specifying it from the interface. What do you think?
Interface.
I think it is shorter na kani. Okay, di ba? Pero this will also work also. Okay. Actually, pariharam ko din sila. Good. Kani siya, you just define it with to be member of the SPF10 area 0. Okay, automatically kanang tong IP kanang kaning interface na to, namo ni siya IP address, di ba? Okay, whatever the interface address is, kabaw atong router asa sa nabilong network. So automatically, iyarga po na ma-advertise. Okay? So this one, this is more I think this would be much more recommended, especially with working on the multi-access. Okay? So, ano yung mailan ni siya o point-to-point. Okay, next is about the passive interface. So, by default, OSPF messages are forwarded out all OSPF-enabled interfaces. However, these messages only need to be sent out interfaces that are connecting to other OSPF-enabled routers. So sending up a needed message on the LAN affects the network in three ways. So it would use your bandwidth, the use of bandwidth, inefficient use bandwidth, available bandwidth is consumed, transporting unnecessarily message. Okay. Inefficient use of resource, all devices on the LAN must process eventually discard the message. So increase of security risk without additional OSPF security configuration. OSPF messages can be intercepted with packet sniffing software. The routing updates can be modified and sent back to the router, corrupting the router table with false metrics that misdirect the traffic. So, okay. So passive interface is usually defined that you're not forwarding OSPF information sa to ang interface dili sa magawas on that interface. So this is usually used sa mga LAN connectivity or connecting to the LAN networks. So you need to be aware of your topology where you're going to provide your OSPF messages or the adjacency between routers. Okay. So number one gig ko na niya is bandwidth and resource. Okay. So it would continue if ever ma-define na siya as member of your OSPF area and ang interface is fully maghatag mo sa resource of bandwidth for that traffic. Okay. So how do we configure a passive interface? So earlier we configured usually kato kanina dire we configure that look back with under the OSPF10 area. Okay, so it's a part of your area 0. Okay, so still a part but dili sa kailangan send an OSPF information but still a part of your routing network or the network defines network agency that can be advertised or sent sa imong database sa imong chassis o mga list of networks. Okay, so configured passive interfaces, we do this. Okay, so under sa router global configuration, we have here router OSPF10. Okay, from this process ID. Okay, so always take note ha if ever mag-troubleshoot ka or mag-create ka OSPF, if ever ang process ID doesn't match from other router, mag-mismatch ka na sila, hindi na sila makita. Okay, so you have here OSPF10, then you have a passive interface loopback 0. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this is how you're going to set passive interface, preventing the OSPF being transmitted to that interface. Okay, so when you do show IP protocols, this is where you can see your process ID now OSPF, router ID. Okay, you have here part of the OSPF na kuan. You have the interface Tupac 0, interface gigabit interface 1 and 0. Then you have opacity Tupac 0. Okay. Then you have your routing information sources. Okay. This is your excuse neighbor router na it provides your routing information. So you have the 333 na router ID and also 2222 na router ID. Okay, so this would be the router 2 and router 3. Okay. Question. Is very useful ha kana bitaw mag-troubleshoot ta in case that uh, our routers are atong routers did not wala siya naka-kuan ba? Naka-sync as adjacency with other routers. Okay, matinga ka sa imong routing table, kuwangan man. So this is also one of uh, very useful na command to troubleshoot routing protocol, dynamic routing protocols, or specifically on OSPF. Okay, show IP protocols. Not only one, but also other routing protocols that you have configured sa imong network. Okay, so show IP protocols is usually one of the most used na command. Okay, to investigate and troubleshoot. Okay, so kasagaran mo mga sayop lang is like typo error or sayop ang number, process ID, or ang IP, ang process ID, mga nana, or mga interface. So that is normal. Okay, masayop ang naging tao. So OSPF point-to-point networks, by default, Cisco routers elect what we call a designated router, okay, as their primary router for computing costs, and also the backup designated router. So even there is only one other device on the link, you can verify this with show IP OSPF interface. Show IP OSPF interface, then the interface number. Okay, as you can see here, you have the router ID as 1111. Then the designated router ID is 2222. Okay, so which means dili router 1 ang atong designated. Okay, the backup designated router is 1111. So it means that atong router 1 or kita kani atong gigamit is a backup designated router. Okay, show IP OSPF interface number, then you have the information here. Question? Hang up na sad. Okay, any question? May problema atong PowerPoint. Change this point-to-point to a point-to-point network. Use the interface configuration IP OSPF network point-to-point. Okay, so here we have interface gigabit port 0, IP space OSPF space network, then point-to-point. Okay, so actually, kani siya, this still works, but the problem ani is that it's not detecting a point-to-point, which means it would be possible for multi-access na mga OSPF. Okay, ay any gamit type that ang gamit niya is usually broadcast type. Okay, because it is anticipating that it is connected also with other, let's say it belongs to that link na daghan bitaw connection or daghan routers. Okay, so to correct this, change to be to point. Okay, you just have to give command under the interface IP space OSPF space network, then point. Okay, so show IP OSPF interface gigabit number. It will show here sa imong network type na it is point. Okay, so loopback and point-to-point networks, we use loopback to provide additional interfaces for a variety purpose. By default, loopback interfaces are advertised as 32/32 host routes. To simulate a real LAN, the loopback interface can be configured as a point-to-point network to advertise the full network. What the R2 sees when the R1 advertise a loopback interface as is. So show IP route include this network. Okay, it will have here the information of OSPF routing. You have the /32, which means that it is a host type. It is a host destination. You have administrative distance. Okay, this is the hop, the next hop, then the time that's being updated, the outgoing interface. So this is your inside your routing table information. Okay, so change it from router 1, so interface loopback 0 IP. Okay, under sa loopback 0, you have IP space OSPF network point-to-point. Okay, so displaying it again from router 2, show IP route. As you can see here, dili na siya host type /24 na siya. Okay, which means it is a network. Okay, so it doesn't change any other set here, but the difference is just ang atong loopback magod identify na siya sa host. That's why to simulate with sakto, okay, you have here the network /24. Okay. Na ba may problem to identify network or host address? Wala may problem, ana, no? Mungutana ko. Okay. If I will give you one 192.168 dot one dot zero slash 22. May I ask if this is a host or a network? Anyone? You can type your answer sa chat. Unsa man no, no, unsa ni siya? Network or host? Muna kong pumunta na. Anybody? Hmm. Who else? Unsa pa'y one answer be? Make a guess. Please participate. So I think not a problem diri, no? Everyone is host. Okay, it doesn't matter if this is a 24 or 22. Okay, what matter is that if the address is the first available, that would make us a network, di ba? If it's not the first available, then that would be a host, okay? If it is a last, that is a broadcast, okay? So this means that is this a host? Yes, this is a host address, okay? Pero if this is slash, let's say 3, this is a host or a network. /23. Host din siya, network. Host gapon. Kaya pa? Yes, that's correct. Host gapon. /24, network na. How about /26? Kaning slash, nakabaw naman mo /24. Okay, /26, network or host? Network. Very good. Okay, network because kung gawas ani, it's the first available address. Okay, so kabaw din mo difference between the host and the network. Okay, so nani. But ani, this is a host, this is a network. Okay. Okay, so that ends our section, first two section of our uh, discussion. So we'll post from here then. Wait. We're going to have a lab activity on this. Okay. So before everything else, let me get. Sorry. Today is September 10. Okay. Yesterday is a holiday. Okay. So I'm going to have an attendance right now. Okay, Amoro. Say present. Your name is
Amaro present, sir.
Q. Apas.
Apas present, sir.
Okay, namday mo yung mga mic. With attendance, tingog na. Aison. Aison.
Ison present, sir.
Aison.
Ison.
Okay. Babatuan. Babatuan. James Bryan. Not here. Bandulon. Also not here. Paring.
Barring present, sir.
Barring Jelly Melody is present. Berdon.
Verdon present, sir.
Thank you. Bermudez. Murphy. Bermudez, not here. Boha. Christopher. Boha. Thank you. Volante.
Volante present.
Thank you. John Lowell Volante. Kaba. Indrich. Kaba is not here. Jerome Kumahig Jr. is not here also. Dupla. Lee Carl.
Dupla present, sir.
Elise Earl. Present. Ipe. Lance. Is not here. Istaniel Sheila Marie. Thank you. Istardo.
Stardo present, sir.
Thank you. Fernandez. Athena.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Gabasa. John Lloyd.
Present, sir.
Godinez. Jose.
Godin is present, sir.
Thank you. Junio. Ken. Wala. Aviluna. Ninyo.
Villana present, sir.
Labajo. Jeremy.
Nabaho present, sir.
Okay. Lukmong. Roger.
Present, sir.
Mercado.
Mercado present, sir.
Nineria.
Linyara present, sir.
Niniera. Sorry. Correction. Thank you. Ochia. Kier. Not here. Alte Ompad. Also not.
Ompad present, sir.
Okay. You're here. Orakoy. Carl.
Rocky present, sir.
Sir, present daw si Ochia, sir.
Sorry. Ochia. I see your chat. Sige, thank you. Okay, Orakoy is here. Pakibot.
Pakibot present, sir.
Okay, Perpetua. Wala sa Perpetua. Piamonte. Not, not here also. Poras.
Putas present, sir.
Prohimo.
Prohemo present, sir.
Remo Pizza, thank you. Remolano. Jasil. Per, Perpetua. Di, o pati ka tawagan, no? At itawag ti ka. O kay Mike. Okay, Perpetua is present also. Remolano, wala, no? Rivera.
Present, sir.
Kenneth Rivera, thank you. Rosal. Not here. Salido. Salido, fixing mic. Okay. Soliano. Jade. Tampos. Roll.
Tempo present, sir.
Thank you. Tampos. Villaver. Wala. Mas Mayor. Vincent. Tier. Sinisa.
Present,
Present,
sir.
sir.
Christian J. Sinisa. Thank you.
Sorry,
Dagala.
sir. Present.
Present, sir.
Present si Mas Mayor. Tingog, no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Gonzales.
Present, Sir Gonzalez.
Thank you. Puerto.
Present, Sir Berto.
Thank you. Dahil wala tawag.
Pura, sir, wala na tawag, sir. Present.
Apura. Matawag ti kanina. Wala.
Wala, sir.
Apura Lisel.
Yes, sir.
Ning present pa ka kanina. Naaman. Napay wa na tawag. Okay, wala ha. Natawag na tanan ha. Okay. Okay, so under sa inyong e-things, nadala atong kuan. Okay, nadari atong class link lang ha. Okay, so atong activity today is usually we have the point-to-point single area network. Okay, so we have here, you just have to click this one. Okay, and download. Okay, so make sure that your packet tracer is updated. So I think a required is the latest na 8.2. Okay, so in this activity, you're going to configure network command on router 1 with a wildcard based on the subnet mask. Okay, excuse. Network command also for router 2 using quad 0 na wildcard. Okay. Then configure the IP OSPF on the router 3, okay, using the interface. Okay. Then passive interface sa loopback. Okay. And verify the operations of our OSPF by giving command show IP protocols and show IP route. Question. Okay. Make sure packet tracer profile is correct. Okay. So what do I mean by this is that once you download it, okay, so nag-open yung ana, take note. Kay kasagaran ani diri gyud ta magka 0-0 sa inyong activity. Okay? So you need to make sure once you open it, dugay kay mo open ang packet tracer. Ano na de? Sorry. Once you open it, na user profile na magawas. Okay? Make sure you type your name here before doing your activity. It's your name. Okay? Don't need your email or other info. Just your name. Click OK. In case gali na wala na siya ning gawas, you just have to go to the option and user profile. Okay? So, i-type lang nimo if ever guess na siya or line name, just redo it. Then, what will happen here is every time mag-change ka profile manggod, it would reset from the beginning. Okay? This is to make sure that you are the one who doing the lab activity na packet tracer. If ever guess na siya, I could not know kinsay gabuhat. Okay? That's why I don't score the guest or other names. Okay? Ngayon bandre, magpakopya lang yang ihatag ang file, then yara sa i-submit. Okay? So, this will going, muna siya mo pop up sa tong pandre pag correct na to. Kinsay na-perform. So, make sure the user profile is correct. Okay? So, I think this is not your first time na packet tracer, right? So, I guess you already know how to use a packet tracer. Just a brief view here. When we have a packet tracer activity, we have what we called our guide. So, this is our guide. Okay, this is our working area. Okay, this guide below, nakailan information dire. Okay, nakay completion percentage dire. Okay, this is will show na makomplete mo activity. Okay, so sa atong guide dire na dire tanan steps. So dili ni siya lisod ha kay dihatag ra tanan. Okay, what is important is just you have to perform it and understand what you're doing. Okay, so there are certain parts na part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Dili ni siya lumba. Okay, so na timer dire, wala na pasabot na namang lumba mo. Okay, so all you have to do is just take your time and understand what you're doing. Okay, this would be your topology sa tong packet tracer. Okay, so once you're done, let's say for example na human mo tanan, perform mo tanan ni 100 na dire, that means you're completed na. Usa pa ta mag-save. Okay, i-save na to ang packet tracer. You can do save as or save. Okay, ako mas prefer ko aning save. Okay, when you do the save, whatever the file name is, mo na gina siya. You don't need to put your last name on it. Di na kailangan i-rename pang file name. Okay, as is na siya. Pwede na mo i-save. Then, humani mo save, ato na nang i-submit. Okay? Asa na to i-submit? Dire. Okay? For na, as ako, di na ako makita ang submission because I'm the one who created it. Inyuhan na mo yung submit button here. So, allowed lang mo up to 2 uploads. In case that you masayop kag upload, let's say, na-upload ni mo ang lain document or lain activity, okay, instead of 2 to 13, naka-upload ka og lain, may tabuan na is that di ko na siya maskoran. So, I give you another chance up to 2 uploads lang. Okay? Okay, so for this due date na to, just ignore it for now since first naman na tong activity, but later on siguro if ever mag-apas sa taas time, we need to set deadlines. Okay? Question. Try to access now your e-things ko, no? Makita pa ninyo ang activity. Okay? Question. So if you don't have the packet tracer pa, do you know, kabaman mo asam na i-download, no? Rira na i-download sa ato ang natakad. Oops. Expire. There is a resource, download, packet tracer. Okay? Oops. Ano sa ba niyang iyang... Oh. Kina-translate na ako. Okay. Sige lang. Anyway, that's how you're going to do it. Okay, question?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
About sa version sa CISCO, sir, ba is asa ganyan siya pwede ma-download ang 8.2, sir?
There is atong kuan. Ito kanina. Wait. Wait. Just log in sa inyo NetAccount. English. Iwan mo English. Log in. Open yung taglain. Nay nag-Apple ninyo or nay nag in operating system Linux, okay? Download Packet Tracer, okay? So none is a different version. If you're using Windows, you need to know if you're 64-bit or 32-bit, okay? So nadri atong download for Windows desktop, 64 kasagaran if Windows 10, older version like Windows 7 na 32-bit, pwede ka ni ganito. Okay, if you have Ubuntu, this one, just download it and install. Okay, if you have an older version, pwede ra dili nimo i-uninstall, pwede sila mag-run in separate kuan. Okay? So, if you have Mac OS, you download this one. So, under siya sa resources, Packet Tracer. Okay? So, you need to log in pa ha. You need to log in before maka-download ka. Okay? Other question?
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Wala na. Okay, so I think that's it for wait, ako sa yung screenshot. Our session today. Today is September 10. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me. Please perform your packet tracer activity, ha? Karon, okay? So thank you everyone and goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.